Right. So is the screen visible?
It is showing.
Okay. Okay, I will request everyone to please keep your phone or whatever in mute mode. Please.
Mute.
Yes, please mute. Okay. So today we will move on to the second part of understanding harmony in nature, right? So last day what we had done. Okay, now please tell me, am I audible? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So last day we had done, we tried to understand what is nature and the four orders of nature. So can any one of you tell me what are the four orders of nature that we talked about last day? What were the four orders?
Anyone? It was discussed in last class, you know.
Yes. So I will just start. One is that material order. Then what was the next order? This we have also learned in school, isn't it?
Material order, pranic order, animal order, and human order.
Very good.
Very good.
Okay. Right. So last day we discussed a few points about how all these three orders can stay in harmony with each other. Now, what do we really mean by the word harmony? Okay. It also is very much interconnected with the word coexistence. How do the orders coexist in nature? And another word for that is Shah Astitva. Astitva, it is written here. So, how Shah Astitva is the coexistence of all the orders in space. So, where are these orders placed? They are in space, right? Okay, let me first close my video, otherwise there is some connectivity problem. Right, okay. So, how do we human beings, where are we placed in this order? We are the highest of the orders, okay? And how do we coexist with our surroundings? So the first and foremost self, and the most important of all, is self, that is I. How do we coexist in ourself, within ourselves? So that is also very important, okay? If and only if we are able to maintain a harmony within ourselves, can we interact with elements or members outside our body, outside ourselves. So what is this self? So, and how can we keep ourselves in harmony? So what we can do is, for example, we can take the example of music. Okay. Say in music, we have certain elements. What are these elements? Some of these elements are the tone of the music, the timbre, the texture, the melody, the rhythm. So whatever we hear, so whenever all these elements are in harmony, only then the music is appealing to us. Only then it exists or unites with ourselves, with our soul, with our thinking, with our perception, etc. So it becomes something that is soothing. Supposing you all must be aware, you must have experienced this, that sometimes in a music there is all these songs that are played, say, in loudspeakers. There is too much of noise, and we are not able to engross, or we are not able to enjoy the melody of the song. Why? Because all these elements that we have just discussed here, they were not in harmony. So there was some kind of a disorder. This is why we could not enjoy that music. The same thing happens with ourselves. Okay, so what happens with ourselves? That is, all these four orders, if they are only mutually fulfilling, only then we can talk of coexistence of the groups. So the first and foremost thing that I told you is that we ourselves, we have to be trained, we have to be in the highest level of the thought processes so that we can be in harmony with ourselves. So what is this really? Say, how do you, okay, let me see which, the foremost thing, it comes with self-regulatory theory. Okay, here what we do is we have a conscious self and we have a physical self. So only when this physical and this conscious, they are in equilibrium with each other, only then we ourselves are, we ourselves, we maintain a harmony within ourselves. So how do we really practice this? So one, the internal factors that affect self-regulation, there are certain factors. One is self-observation. That is, you have to continuously study yourself, what you want, what are, for example, last day we had discussed some of the questions that we very often need to ask. Okay, so what are these questions? What do I want? Who am I? What do I need to explore? Whatever I want, for that, where do I need to go? If I don't achieve, then what are my shortcomings? Or what do I have to uh, practice to achieve whatever I wanted to? So these are the several questions in us, right? So now, to deal with these questions, to address these questions, what we need to do is we need to study ourselves first. First, we need to know ourselves. So this is very important. Be you a student, be you a teacher, whoever you are, you need to first know your role, what you really want. Okay, so you have to, for that you need to study yourself, whatever you want, right? To assist in becoming the person we want to be and to deal with all the shortcomings, we need to practice certain things. So what do we need to do? We first have to observe ourselves. Then we have to be judgmental. That is, we have not judgmental really. We have to judge ourselves. That is, whether what we want or what we are trying to achieve is possible in that particular situation in which we want, in which we are, or we need to do some more exercise before we attain that particular standard. Also, we have to set our goals and aims in life, or even if it is not in a broader scale. For example, if you are doing some term paper, so what do you really want to achieve from that term paper, that you must first ask yourself, get the answer, and then work for it. Okay, so all this deals with your self discipline. How do you really want yourself to be placed in society? First, of course, is your good health, your cleanliness, and then your achievement, your interaction with yourself, your immediate family, and then with the other orders. Okay. Before that, we also need to set certain standards. Like, for example, okay, I want to be like my father. I like such and such qualities of my teacher. Oh, my mother is very good at it. I adore her for this. So I also want to be like this. I want to achieve such qualities of my mother. So these are some of our visions that we need to fulfill. That is what is our aim. These are some of the standards we set. Also, on a larger scale, very often you'll see that you also practice, we do uh, celebrate occasions anniversaries, birth anniversaries of famous personalities. Why? Because what do we do during these occasions? We revise their outlook on life, what they had done, how they had achieved. So that is why we place them as great people. Okay. And we also want to follow their footsteps. This is why we need to study the life of famous people, people who have really set their mark in this world. Okay. That definitely starts with our family members, our very adored friends, or our teachers, and then we go on to other famous people. Okay. So how can we really achieve this? It doesn't come in one day. One fine day, we cannot get up in the morning and say, oh, of course, I can run 100 miles today. No. If I really want to be like Milka Singh, I have to practice every day, every step. It may be very difficult depending upon your age. If you're very young, you will take shorter time. If the older you get, you will take a longer time. So these are the different approaches to life that you need to recognize and interact with. Okay. So there is one very famous word that is called Kaizen. Okay. So I will just put this word over here. Let me see if you can you see this word over here? Yeah. Kaizen. Do you know what is Kaizen? Any one of you can tell me what is Kaizen? Have you ever heard of this word before? Anyone?
Madam,
Yes.
ma'am, Kaizen is a Japanese word of mind control and concentration.
Yes, exactly. Right. So Kaizen is a Japanese word. It is also basically a Japanese art which has which practices incremental positiveness. So whatever you do, like I told you, one fine morning you cannot get up and run 100 miles. So if your aim is to run 100 miles, then every day you get up, you practice with a few steps, then a few yards, then maybe half a kilometer, then 1 kilometer. So this incremental positiveness is what is Kaizen. So this, if you practice in any walk of your life, even if that comes to cleaning of a room, if your room is unsettled and you think, oh my God, how can I live in this room? And one fine day you start cleaning up the whole room, you will become tired, maybe the work will not be done. But if you take it into your practice, be it your classroom, be it your university, the room in which you stay, if every day you do a little bit of it, one place at a time, ultimately at the end of 1 week, you'll see everything is in order. You are much more calm. You are satisfied, and the room is clean. Your university surrounding is clean. Your classroom is clean. So this is how we can also extend Kaizen to different walks of life, even in your relationship. With a friend, there could have been a tiff, okay? Maybe something that you did not agree with. Very good. You can make this better by talking to this person a few words. Next day, you can talk paragraphs, you can write. So every day, if you work on the relationship, you will make it better. So this is what is the practice of Kaizen. And this we can implement in ourselves to make ourselves better. So once we have made ourselves better, only then can we interact with society. Like, for example, last day we said, after we are enriched in ourselves, then we interact with the family. Then this family is enriched, interacts with society and the universe as a whole. Okay. So this is one way in which, this is one aspect in which things are in harmony, right? So before proceeding further, I will just tell you something more about this self-regulation. So when you understand what is harmony in yourself, we use these terms sanyam and swastha. So you have self-control, you practice your willpower, self-discipline, and then ultimately, when all these are harmonized, will you achieve the objective or the goal? Okay, so this is what is all about your self-discipline. Now, when the living orders interact in nature, there are 4 aspects by which they interact. So what are these 4 aspects? One is predation, the other is mutualism, another is commensalism, and we have yet another one that is called parasitism. Most of you know of parasitism because very recently we have suffered from the attack of something that has really put our foot down on earth, taken us to a different level of realization. This was all because of something that has affected us very recently in 2020, right? You also know of predation, right? So let us first start with commensalism. Now, what is commensalism? Commensalism is one aspect. So let me just make this slide bigger so that you can all see. Yeah. Right. So what is commensalism? It is the relationship between 2 living organisms where one benefits and the other is neither harmed nor helped. So you have there are 2 parties to it. So one party does not have any objection to the other parties enjoying that facility. So let's see some examples here. Right. Say, for example, this one. Very often you have seen this scene. What is it? You have these egrets sitting on either buffaloes or cows and eating on or feeding on the ticks that are present in the body of that animal. Okay. So these cattle, every time I have to bring this to the front. Right. So some birds live among cattle and eat the insects that are there in the body. And one example is this egret. Then another example here you have is if there is anyone who has seen or has been to the seashores where you have dived, there you will see a lot of sea anemones. Yeah. See, you will see a lot of fish. They also hide themselves from predators in a mass of other sea animals which have tentacles, right? So this is also this fish is not doing any harm to the tentacles, nor are the tentacles doing any harm, but they are helping the fish in any way without themselves getting destroyed. So here we have several other examples of commensalism. So commensalism is one aspect in which 2 groups will survive with each other, but no one gets harmed. Have any of you been to the seashores where you have seen crabs making holes and feeding? Have you ever seen?
Yes, ma'am, we have seen.
Yes, you've seen crabs in the seashore.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how they survive?
Yes, ma'am.
What do they feed on? So they dig some hole, right? And they throw up those silt particles. Outside that particular hole, you'll see lots of designs of these silt particles, right? Mud particles. And whenever the wave comes in, what this, let me see if I have this drawing with me. Maybe not. So what happens is they create one U-shaped hole, and not really U-shaped. Uh, it's just like the hockey stick. And whenever the waves come in, water rushes into the hole. When the water drains off, it leaves behind some of these polyps. And these polyps are the things that the crabs feed on. Sometimes you'll find, if you really investigate into these holes, you'll see there are certain worms which also thrive into this, which also thrive in these holes. So how do this crab and the worm, they survive? Because the crab would have also digested or eaten up the worm, but they don't, because there is a commensalism or a mutual existence. There is some order of harmony in which they thrive. This is why whatever the water brings in, it's fed by the crab, it's also fed by the worm. Okay. Next, we can go to another aspect, that is parasitism. We all know what is parasitism, right? So one organism, usually physically smaller in size than the host, and it thrives by taking all its nutrients from the host. So parasites basically do harm to the host. They feed on the host. Okay. So this is another kind of existence. But can you tell me, will there be harmony in this existence? But it does exist in nature. How does it exist in nature? Is there any? Okay, first let me give you some of the examples, though you already know. Here you have hookworm in the intestine of animals, right? You have something called creamy. Yes. Other parasites?
Yes.
Yes. Other parasites, so for example, very common day to day, every day, that is our mosquito. What does it do? It sucks the blood. Does it help
Oh.
you in any way? Help the
Little.
animal in any way? No. What does it do? It extracts some blood from you. And in the process, it also injects some parasites into your body, some disease germs into your body. Okay. So here we do not see any benefit. Okay. But can you tell me? Okay. Before that, let me go to the example of plant. This is also a common scene that we very often see in the jungles or other places where you have a lot of greenery. You will see that there is some variety of plants, some vines, some creepers that overgrow trees. And within a very short span of time, these trees get killed, right? They die. So that means this particular greenery, this particular vine was parasitic, right? Okay. Now, so they should not be thriving in nature because they are the ones who, or they could have finished off with nature and other good forms or trees that we need, we want those trees to survive, they would not have survived, right? But there is some kind of a balance somewhere. Yeah. So can you tell me, have you any idea, or is it possible that parasitism could also be of any good? So while you think, let me tell you, like last day we discussed that if there is some kind of disbalance in nature, then we have a lot of disaster, right? For example, flood is one disaster. Volcanic eruption is another disaster. Okay. But have you ever thought? Yes? Pardon? Have you ever thought that whether flood or volcanic eruption, could they be of any good to us? Or is it that it is always negative?
And I think it is good because during volcano, igneous rocks are formed in the world and they are very strong and hardy rocks. And secondly, during floods, it happens that silt is brought, very fertile silt, and it is good for farming. That's why.
Yes, very good. So during floods, the alluvium is spread on to a large area of land, which otherwise would not have been possible. So there are good aspects of flood, of the items that we term as disaster. So it is, all of it is not disaster. There are some positiveness in that also. What about volcanic eruptions? Just to give you these two examples we just discussed. There are many more. In volcanic eruptions, as you just said, a lot of igneous rocks are brought up to the surface. And along with that, a lot of metals. Right. A lot of the battery is going down. So let me just connect 1 minute. Right. So a lot of precious stones and metals are also brought up to the surface here. So these are the positiveness of the so-called disasters, the so-called factors that we have labeled as disasters. Now let us come back to that question on parasites. So can you tell me, is there any good in parasites? Can there be any good? Whatever we have seen around us, examples that we see around us, it is always some kind of destruction. Anything else? Could there be any good? Why we are discussing this? Before that, let me tell you, what is the need for discussing all this? The need is that whatever we see around us, everything may not be in our favor. Everything we may not like. Okay. So since this class is on human values, so what do we need to take from society? This is very important. That is why in the beginning we discussed about regulating ourselves, enriching ourselves. Then when we interact with nature, with all the other orders, with all our immediate uh, surroundings, then what do we really take within us? Do we follow whatever and however things are? No. We take in that which adds to positiveness. So in nature, we see symbiosis, or how do these orders, living orders, exist with each other. There are some good aspects, there are some bad aspects as well. So what do we need to do? If something, we need to choose the positiveness from that and imbibe it and inculcate it within ourselves. So let's get back to the question again. What about parasites? Can you tell me, could there be anything good about parasitism? Could there be anything that is uh, helpful in parasitism? Okay, let me tell you, some parasites are used for medicinal purposes. And very strangely, parasites are also called the great pharmacists. You know why? Because some parasites are used for the treatment of diseases. If a particular parasite is known to feed on, say, some substance A of the body, and that substance A actually causes some disease in your body, then we can inject that particular parasite into the body so that it feeds on that substance A and eradicates that substance, right? So parasites can also be used for positive purposes. Okay. Next, another form of is, okay, before that, we go to predation. What is predation? When you have one order of animal feeding or destroying the other for its own survival. So, at one glance, predation will appear as what? Something that is destructive, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, what do you think of this? Oops.
It is necessary to maintain balance in nature.
It is necessary to maintain. Wait 1 minute. Can I admit some was waiting? Okay. I'm not able to. Right. It is needed to maintain the balance. Yes. So this aspect is predation. In the forefront, it just appears as if one party is not happy, the other is very happy. But this aspect of symbiosis is necessary for survival in nature. Okay. And of course, you have mutualism, where both the species, they interact and they benefit from each other. So can you give me any such example? Any example of mutualism in our day-to-day life? What pictures I have over here, this is of some animal world. Yeah. So otherwise, can you give me anything, any day-to-day life example of mutualism?
Ma'am, I have studied in about nature in National Geographic Channel, those magazines. I read that the sloth bears they live, okay, that when they hang from the trees, then there tends to form green algae on their body, okay, and
Okay.
they are on their body actually the fur region, and from a certain point of time, it has been observed that the algae derives nutrition from the body of that sloth, and the sloth offers them shelter. This is, I think, a symbol of mutualism.
Yes, but very
What's
good.
the
But
name? Very good answer. Yes,
yes,
he's
very nice,
listening.
very nice. Yes, but in our day-to-day life, in your
Yes.
university, when you start from
But ma'am,
home,
that's on the animal world now.
yeah, that's from the animal world. Yes, yes, of course. I am asking you about any mutualism or where both parties benefit from each other. It doesn't have to be the bear or the sloth or the cow. It can be yourself. Do you go through any kind of experience throughout the day where we can term this as mutualism, where you
Yes, ma'am.
benefit from something and that other party also benefits from you?
Yes, ma'am. It certainly happens
Yes,
because
can you just give me an example?
yes, ma'am. Telling. When we come to college, we avail the services of auto rickshaws. Okay, we
Yes,
provide temporary employment by hiring those auto rickshaws. They can earn money,
absolutely,
and we can
absolutely,
gain advantage by coming quickly to college.
exactly, exactly.
Yes, ma'am. The
So
rickshaw man's also.
yes, yes. So whatever conveyance, even if you go to the market, you buy vegetables. So it is a gain of both the parties, right? In some form of or the other. So this is what is mutualism, right? So now you tell me, can you give me any example um, of predation besides the ones that I have already cited for you?
Yes, ma'am. We see lizards hunting those shamapokas or insects. That is
Or
predation.
cockroaches, very,
Cockroaches,
very
popular.
famous, very popular models also that are sold in the toy shops, isn't it? One
Yes, madam.
lizard feeding on a cockroach. Yeah.
Cockroach.
So
We grew
that
up on this.
that is predation. Yeah. But is there any benefit? Does any other form of life or any other order benefit from this?
Yes,
From
ma'am.
what in a small scale, what we see as predation, is there any benefit from that?
Yes, ma'am. There is benefit because when we see on a macroscopic scale,
Yeah.
suppose the lions hunting those buffaloes or wild beasts in Africa, right? We are seeing that predation is happening and the lions are consuming those buffaloes. But on a larger scale, it is seen that the entire flora of Africa, that is the vegetation, is getting benefited. Otherwise, there would be an imbalance in the population of buffalo and they would consume almost all of the vegetation. That would cause
Okay.
desertification.
This is one. Right. Very good.
Right.
So,
Very interesting.
right. So if we sum up this, today we discussed about predation, mutualism, commensalism, parasitism. These are some of the relationships that exist in nature. Yeah. So the whole of it is called symbiosis. It is any type of a close or long-term biological interaction between two different biological organisms. So what we discussed today are basically these three. One is mutualism. We discussed commensalism. We discussed parasitism, and we also discussed predation. Right. So, but above all and everything is the astitva of self, right? So how do we, and why do we, first of all, why do we need to discuss or know about these relationships? So that whatever is positive from this, we can imbibe and inculcate into ourselves. This is the sole reason for studying or having these classes to benefit ourselves, right? Okay. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Okay. First line, if you are in constant interaction with your surroundings. Similarly, we are in interaction with you.
Yes.
Okay. If you have any question, we can interact with.
But at least there was some interaction, yes, in the last class as well as in this class.
Right.
So this is why it makes both the teacher and the student happy. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult.
Right.
So
Anyone?
you can think, what you can do is, you can think of small stories, very short stories, where you, from that story, it'll be something like a quiz. You will first narrate that story, and the other person will have to tell you, what does this story tell you about? What aspect of survival, whether it is mutualism, or it is parasitism, etc. So on your own, you can do this exercise and build up short stories where we can display or tell about these characters. Okay. If you have any questions to ask, please do.
Any question or any discussion we require?
So in
So
the
far, I
chat
don't have
box,
any
oh, there are no questions. They have just
বলো
given their attendance.
না বলছি মানে পড়া বুঝতে পেরেছি, কোশ্চেন আপাতত নেই। জিনিসটা পিডিএফ দিলেন পড়ে নেব, আইডিয়াটা হবে, তখন যদি কোনো কোশ্চেন হয়।
বেশ। Okay.
Okay,
Sir,
one thing.
please enlighten. Please
Okay.
add something to this. আপনি একটুখানি কিছু বলুন, তাহলে একটু সুবিধা হয়।
কে আমাকে বলছেন?
হ্যাঁ, আপনাকে বলছি স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, actually very interesting class. both is a mutual interaction. Today, various types of interaction. Mainly, today's class is very interesting that I follow. So mainly coexistence. Mainly, one thing is the holistic perception, holistic perception in coexistence, in harmony. So that she has explained all the types of relationship, and some students are interacting also. So last class and this class. So that is very interesting. I think all of you have heard. And last this class, Madam has given you the PPT. I have already given you it in your WhatsApp group, and Telegram group. I think you have got it. And I expected that you will be interacting it because you have got the PPT, you have gone through. Those you have in class are not able to listen, or those who are not able to join. That's why we have sent it. I think you have gone through it. So we expected some questions from you. Anyway, we request you again to go through this PPT and the topics that Madam has explained. So
today's PPT, I will just organize it a bit and then send it.
Okay, to send it, and I'll give it to the
Okay.
a group. And the next class, I'm telling, next class it will be on Wednesday. It will be taken by Kamalakanto sir. And I'll send it your two PPT. I'll send it to Kamalakanto sir because on that day, on Wednesday, it was supposed to take a test on fourth module. So he will be doing that.
Okay.
Okay.
Swadesh sir.
Hello. Bolo.
Yeah, now so that I can share the test link.
Right. Maji sir,
Yeah.
Professor Maji will give you the test mod. Yeah.
But I have shared it in the YouTube.
Right.
And here also I'll share the test link in the chat box only. It
Okay.
will not be shared in your Telegram group, right? You have half an hour time to respond. It's very simple test. It will take hardly 2 minutes, maximum 5 minutes.
Sir,
You can answer it
Sir,
right
sir.
now.
sir, is it on module 3?
It's
Mind
in
you, first
module
module.
1.
It is a first module.
Akira, sir. I
Module
think all
1.
of you have received the link.
It is a first module. I
Oh.
took the first class and second class. Pakira sir has taken. On these two classes, this test has been prepared. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir,
The
actually,
link
I
is
gave
shared in the
module
chat
1
box.
exam.
Very simple.
No. None of you have given this test.
Okay.
It is shared in the chat box and
Okay.
it's open. Respond. You can respond right now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Time is half an hour, Maji sir. Will you give it half
Yes,
an hour?
sir.
Okay, it is sufficient. Very simple.
I think all of you have received the link.
Respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Go ahead.
Sir.
Follow.
Bolo.
Can you read?
Yes, you can. Actually, I am recording the response. None of
Okay.
you have responded so far. That's why I was waiting.
It's
You
okay.
can leave. No problem.
Sir, can we leave the class?
Yes, you can.
Can.
Sir, from where can we get the PPTs?
PPT will be shared in the Telegram group.
Already PPT
Okay,
has
sir.
first madam's class already it has been given. Last its class. Okay.
Sir, can we leave the class?
But the
Yes, you
PPT
can
of this class will be
complete the
given to
test.
Telegram group.
No, sir, you are talking about a WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp, it has been given in WhatsApp group also.
Telegram,
So
Telegram.
we are not.
টেলিগ্রামে তো আছে, but WhatsApp-এ আমি অনেক দু একটা জায়গায় দেখছি।
না, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে স্টুডেন্টরা নেই স্যার।
No,
আচ্ছা,
your
না,
your
student
your
নেই।
respective teachers will share it with
টিচারদের
you
বলে দিয়েছি
in
যে
your
তারা
class.
দিয়ে দিতে।
আচ্ছা, আচ্ছা, আচ্ছা।
ধরো আমাদের এডুকেশনে তারা তাদের গ্রুপে দিয়ে দিয়েছে, সিএসসির ওরা
ঠিক।
দিয়েছে, লতে দিয়ে দিয়েছে। আমি ওদেরকে সবাইকে রিকোয়েস্ট করেছি তারা
টেলিগ্রাম গ্রুপে দিয়ে দিয়েন স্যার।
টেলিগ্রামও দিয়ে দেওয়া হচ্ছে, আবার ওদেরও দিয়ে দেওয়া হচ্ছে,
ঠিক আছে।
যাতে স্পেসিফিক ডিপার্টমেন্টের যাদের হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপ তারাও টিচার্স যারা আছেন তারা দিয়ে দিয়েছে। মৌমালা দিয়েছে, তারপরে সবাই অনেকে দিয়েছে, আর আমাদের তো দেওয়া হয়েছে। অনেক বলছি টেলিগ্রামে গ্রুপ নেই,
স্যার একটু শুনুন স্যার, আমি না চ্যাট বক্সে দেখলাম একটা লিংক দেওয়া আছে, ওটাই কি লিংকটা, পরীক্ষার লিংক?
হ্যাঁ, ওটা অ্যাটেম্প্ট করো।
ঠিক আছে।
কিন্তু বারবার আমি লিখছি।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার ফর দিস সেশন। স্যার এখন তো লিভ করতে পারি তো?
হ্যাঁ, হ্যাঁ, টেস্টটা দিয়ে দাও।
এই তো লিংক দেওয়া আছে।
থ্যাংক ইউ ফর দ্য সেশন স্যার।
Thank you.
আমাদের কি বলে সূর্যশিখা ম্যাডাম ওটা দেবে, থার্ড মডিউলটা বাকি আছে, ওটা গতকাল দেওয়ার কথা ছিল, যাই হোক দিয়ে দেবে।
ঠিক আছে স্যার, উনি করে দিলে আমি দিয়ে দেবো।
হ্যাঁ দিয়ে দেবে। আর পরেরটা কমলাকান্ত স্যার করবে।
যারা মিটিং এ আছো কেউ টেস্ট দিচ্ছ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Actually, I was watching the response. None of you have responded so far. সেই জন্য লিঙ্কটা কিছু প্রবলেম আছে কিনা বুঝতে পারছি না, তো ওই জন্য।
না, ওরা তো বলছে দিচ্ছে বলছে।
হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে, দিলে তো ভালোই। সে কেউ রেসপন্স করেনি এখনো, বন্ধ করে দেবো তো, মিটিং ক্লোজ করে দেবো?
হ্যাঁ দেখুন, আপনি যেটা বোঝেন।
স্যার এক্সামটা দিচ্ছি তো।
আচ্ছা, দিয়ে নাও তাহলে। আই এম ওয়েটিং।
একটু ওয়েট করি মাঝি স্যার,
লিংকটা
10 মিনিট থাকি।
লিংকটা তো কপি করা থাকলে তো মিটিং ক্লোজ করলে তো কি আছে?
হ্যাঁ,
ওটা তো করতে
আমি
চাই।
একটা রেসপন্স দেখে নিতে চাইছিলাম।
রেসপন্স দেখে নিতে চাইছি আভি করছে কিনা, এটা বা একটু দেখে নেই।
আচ্ছা,
ম্যাডাম ইউ ক্যান লিভ নাও।
ওকে ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম ইউ ক্যান লিভ নাও। আমি আছি।
হ্যালো স্যার।
হ্যাঁ
বলো।
বলছি স্যার, এক্সাম দিতে দিতে মিটিংটা যদি বন্ধ হয়ে যায় কোনো অসুবিধা হবে না তো?
না না,
কিচ্ছু হবে না।
ওকে স্যার, এক্সামটা দিচ্ছি আর কি, ওর জন্য বলবো।
দাও।
osmita@gmail.com, response recorded. Osmita Chakraborty,
Osmita Chakraborty on the B.Ed.
Pragya Mouli Chakraborty also. Perhaps you have received the score. হ্যাঁ, একটা বিএড, একজন ফার্মাসিউটিক্যাল টেকনোলজিস্ট।
Osmita on the B.Ed.
দুজনেই যদি মিটিং এ থাকো, হোপফুলি তোমরা স্কোর পেয়ে গেছো।
Sir, we are giving examination.
হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে।
Sir,
বল।
sir, I have submitted the response. Can you please check one Shaboni Pal?
দেখো, আমি তো করছি না। আমি মাঝি স্যার দেখুন।
স্যার রেসপন্স করতে হবে?
হ্যাঁ, রেসপন্ড করো।
প্রদ্যুৎ কুমার দে, বিটেক সিএসসি ফার্স্ট ইয়ার।
স্যার আমারটা পাননি, শ্রাবণী পাল।
দেখি, আমি তো পাচ্ছি না। দেখি
সাবরণী
মাঝি
পাল
স্যারকে
পেয়ে গেছি। তুমি কি টেস্ট স্কোর পেয়ে গেছো?
আমি এখনো মেল চেক করিনি স্যার, মেল চেক করছি, 1 মিনিট একটু দাঁড়ান।
ওকে ওকে, তোমার রেসপন্স পেয়ে গেছি। নাও ইউ ক্যান লিভ।
ওকে স্যার।
স্যার রেলা বিশ্বাস আমিও দিয়েছি।
না, রিলা আরাই।
RELA।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, পেয়ে গেছি পেয়ে গেছি। তো রেসপন্স ইজ কালেক্টেড। নাও all of you can leave.
স্যার প্রদ্যুৎ কুমার দে।
প্রোগ্রামলি বিদ্যুতের কই রে বাবা, নেই তো।
প্রদ্যুৎ কুমার দে স্যার ফার্স্ট বিটেক। জুমে দিয়েছি স্যার।
জুমে দেওয়া যেখানে দেওয়া, তো গুগল ফর্ম তো। প্রদ্যুৎ কুমার দে তো নেই রে ওটা।
স্যার ফর্ম সাবমিট করার কথা বলছে, ফর্মটা সাবমিট করিনি এখন।
করো করো করে ফেলো, করলে তারপরে পাবো, জানতে পারবো। ওকে, রিলিজ করতে নোট রিলিজ কেন বলছে? স্যার ক্লোজ করে দিচ্ছি মিটিং।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে।
ওকে স্যার,
আবার বুধবার দিন ক্লাস আছে।
ওকে স্যার।